Hi, welcome to Microbiopy. Being a student, I am trying to serve you all microbiology, but in a much simplified manner. Okay, hope it turns to be beneficial for all of us, including me. So, today we will be learning about PUC 18. Now, PUC 18 is a 2.7 kilobases long plasmid or 2686 base pairs to be more precise. Okay, now PUC 18 is kind of a derivative of PBR 332, which we have learned earlier, and the full name of PUC is University of California because it was made there. Okay, now what kind of derivative is PUC 18? PUC 18 has in the PBR 322 has been modified and PUC 18 has been made. What are the modifications? The modifications include in the ampicillin resistance gene, the ampicillin resistance gene is slightly modified, and also the laxi gene is present instead of the tetracycline resistance gene. Okay, the tetracycline resistance gene has been removed and laxi gene has been put there. Now in the laxi gene, MCS sequence is there. MCS sequence or polylinker is also a big modification to it. Okay, the MCS consists of several restriction endonuclease sites. Now all those sites are unique. Okay, there are some examples which you can see: HINT3, SPH1, PST1, XBAL, okay, SMA1, SSC1, EcoR1. Okay, these all are unique. Okay, now these were the modifications. These were the modifications of the PUC 18. Now, as I have said, it contains laxi gene, but the whole laxi gene is not present in the PUC 18. Okay, the plasmid consists only N terminal. Only the N terminal of the laxi gene is present, and its better half, the C terminal, it is present in the host. The host which is to be transformed. Okay, I can show you, just a minute. Now this is the thing I was talking about. The plasmid contains the N terminal of the laxi gene, okay, and the host contains C terminal of the laxi gene, and combining those two we get fully functional laxi gene coding for beta D-galactosidase. Now beta D-galactosidase is an enzyme. What is beta D-galactosidase? Beta D-galactosidase is an enzyme which hydrolyzes lactose to form two monomers. What are those two monomers? Glucose and galactose. The two monomers are glucose and galactose. Okay, let us think of a situation. Okay, now let us think of a situation. What will be the situation? The situation is that the MCS is not cleaved, or the DNA insert is not put inside the MCS. Okay, now what will happen if DNA insert is not put inside the laxi gene or the N terminal? Okay, and it is allowed to form a hybrid. Okay, what will happen then? Now what will happen is the N and C terminal will form a functional laxi gene because it has not been cut and no DNA insert has been put there. Now due to this, it will be a fully functional laxi gene and code for beta D-galactosidase. Okay, it will code for beta D-galactosidase. Okay, now for this we have to understand the operon system first. We have to understand the operon system. What is an operon? Operon is a series of genes. Okay, series of genes. Now this is the lac operon system or the lactose operon system. Okay, in the lac operon system, what we have here? We have promoter for the regulator. It is not a promoter. We have two promoters. Okay, one for the regulator, which is the repressor, and one for the operator, one just before the operator. Okay, now the promoter or the promoter of the repressor. Now what will happen when lactose is present and when lactose is not present? There will be two different situations, when lactose is present and when lactose is not present in the system. Okay, when lactose is not present in the system, the repressor gene or the repressor gene will produce repressor proteins. Okay, and this repressor protein will come and bind with the operator. Okay, now what will happen due to binding of the repressor protein with the operator? The beta D galactosidase, this Z gene, this Z gene will not form any mRNA. Okay, now for that no translation will occur and no beta D galactosidase will be made. Okay, this is the situation. Yes, the repressor protein has bind with the operator and hence it will not produce any mRNA from the Z region or the Z gene. Okay, now let's think of the other situation when lactose is present. When lactose is present, what will happen? When lactose is present, the lactose will bind with the repressor protein. Here the repressor protein will bind with the lactose and change its conformation, and hence it cannot bind with the operator. Okay, and the operator is free and hence it will be hence the mRNA will be produced from the Z gene. Okay, just like lactose turns on the operand system, we also have a substrate not substrate, or inducer, a inducer which is similar to lactose, or it is also called allolactose or IPTG. What does this IPTG do? IPTG has same function just like lactose. Okay, it turns on the operon system by binding with the repressor protein, and hence this changes the conformation and it cannot bind with the operator and mRNA is produced from Z gene. Now this was the induction part. What we have to see? We have to see that whether beta D galactosidase is produced or not. Okay, we need some visible proof that whether the enzyme is produced or not. Okay, now we can see it by two ways. Okay, either by cleavage of lactose, okay, or by any other substrate. We can choose lactose or any other substrate. We don't choose lactose. Why? We don't choose lactose because when lactose is hydrolyzed, when lactose is hydrolyzed by beta D galactosidase, only galactose and glucose is produced. Only galactose and glucose is produced. Okay, and both of them are indistinct, or we cannot differentiate with our eyes that whether beta D galactosidase has been produced or not, or whether it has cleaved lactose or not. We cannot say. Okay, by visual or by our eyes, okay, we can say we don't have any visible proof. So what do we use? We use X-gal. What is X-gal? X-gal is a chromogenic substrate. It is a chromogenic substrate. What is X-gal? It is 5-chloro, okay, 5-chloro 4-bromo 3-indolyl beta D galactoside. Now for that we have to remembering that there is a process which I have invented or which I have made up myself for easier remembering. It is by writing 5, 4 and 3. We have to write 5, 4 and 3 few distance apart. Okay, and British Council of India or Board for Cricket of India, anything we can say, BCI. Okay, this BCI, we have to write that BCI, B beside 5, C beside 4 and I beside 3. Okay, now it stands 5B or 5 bromo, 4C or 4 chloro, 3I or 3 indolil beta D galactoside. Okay, beta D galactoside is Cleve's beta D galactoside, that is obvious. Now this is for the X-gal. Okay, let me see. Yes, this is X-gal. This is X-gal. Okay, and beta D galactoside is Cleves it to galactose, and this is a insoluble blue colored thing. Okay, it is called 5 prime dibromo, 4 prime dichloro indigo. We all know, blue, hence it is an insoluble blue color. Now for a quick recap, what does IPTG do? IPTG is not a substrate. IPTG induces the operon system to produce beta D galactosidase, and beta D galactosidase acts on X-gal. Okay, hence X-gal is the chromogenic substrate. We need to remember that. Now this compound is blue colored, and what does this blue color production mean? It means that the N terminal of the plasmid has not been cut by any restriction endonuclease in the MCS. Okay, and no DNA insert has been added. It means that no DNA insert has been added. Okay, and the plasmid is blank, or the plasmid is just like before. And instead we could have also seen white colonies. Okay, we could have also seen white colonies. What would those white colonies produced instead of blue mean? What will the white colonies mean to us? The white colonies will refer to the fact that no beta D galactosidase was produced to cleave X-gal. Now when will beta D galactosidases be produced? When the N terminal region has not been cut. Okay, it will produce beta D galactosidase, and beta D galactosidase in turn produces the blue color by cleaving X-gal. But if there is no blue color, what will that mean? That it means that there is insertion of the DNA insert. Okay, and the N terminal has been cut into 2 pieces. Okay, hence no fully functional LAGZ gene was produced, and due to this unfunctional LAGZ gene, no beta D galactosidase was produced. Okay, we need to see the differences here. Now this is the basic of the blue white screening. Okay, so what is blue white screening? Blue white screening is a process to determine that whether beta D galactosidase has been produced or not. We can visibly see that whether blue colonies or white colonies are produced. Blue colonies will be produced when N terminal remains as it is and DNA insert has not been added, and white colonies are produced when the N terminal has been cut and DNA has been added. That means the plasmid hybrid has formed, or the chimeric DNA has been formed, or chimeric plasmid hybrid has formed. Okay. Now for blue white screening in a media, what is the media? It is LB media, Luria Bertani. It is LB media. In LB media, ampicillin also present. Ampicillin is also there in LB media. Why? because the host can also grow in which no plasmid is there. The normal host can also grow in the LB media or LB media. So ampicillin is added such that the host in which no plasmid is there or the host which is blank cannot grow in the broth, not broth, in the media. Okay. Now which will grow? Only those which have the plasmids. Now the host containing plasmids can be of two type. Okay, those two types are one kind in which the plasmids have been cut and vector has and the DNA insert has been added, and the other one in which no DNA insert is added. In the original vector where no DNA insert is added, it will grow on the LB medium. Okay, it will grow on the ampicillin containing medium. Okay, and it will cleave X-gal. I cannot show you here. So it will cleave X-gal and produce blue colonies or the which containing the original vector, and the vector with insert will not cleave X-gal, vector with insert, and hence produce white colonies, and this is the basis for blue white screening. Thank you.